It's now 7:02.
Or his house isn't burnt down.
And I
That was 10
would like to
minutes
call
of
the
10.
meeting to order. Could you all rise, and Ed Zick will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
So, Julia, in that email that you sent, there was one thing that was incorrect. That part is not law. That bill, it wasn't passed. When I said it was passed down, I meant that it was deferred.
Right.
Sorry, I just wanted to make
I got
sure.
you.
Because it might come up.
Right. I don't think it will, but.
Oh, okay. Fair.
We're dedicating this meeting tonight to Helen Knickerbocker, and Julia has something to read.
So I didn't know Helen at all, but I went to the Forever Young Club lunch last week, and Helen was 106 when she passed away. She was born in 1918 in Clinton Corners, and she was the oldest living resident of Stanford. She passed away on November 22nd, 2024. The daughter of Paul and Sophie Germain, she was born in the family home in Clinton Corners on April 15th, 1918. She graduated from Pine Plains High School in Pine Plains, New York in 1936, and she went to school apparently here in the schoolhouse. Helen graduated from the Vassar Nursing School in Poughkeepsie in 1940 and pursued a career as a registered nurse at Vassar Hospital in the nursery and maternity department. And I'll read something at the end that was really heartwarming. Helen was predeceased by her brother, Roger Germain, sister Emily Germain, and her loving husband, Austin Knickerbocker. They were married for 56 years. Helen was down to earth and knew how to be self-sufficient. She provided a steady example to her family on how to approach life and be content. She loved canning fresh fruits along with vegetables she grew, baking and making delicious meals on her cast iron cook stove. She loved songbirds, music, and playing the piano after dinner. She was a wonderful homemaker, talented at upholstering, sewing, and knitting clothes. She and Austin were fond of making trips to Myrtle Beach, Florida, and the camp at Copper Lake in the Adirondacks. She was an avid Mets fan, and fun fact, apparently her husband played in the pro baseball leagues. Austin. Helen showed her love by having tirelessly cared for her family and passed down her many valuable skills, a most precious gift. Her warm personality and loving spirit touched many lives for the better, and she would be profoundly missed by all. And I happened to read the guest book, and Vincent Ricciardelli wrote, "Thank you, Helen, for delivering my best friend." And I just thought that was such a sweet comment on her legacy.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Lovely. 106.
Incredible.
Rita, may we have the roll call?
You may.
Thank
Wendy Burton.
I'm going to say present
Oh, goodness.
in honor of Eric not being here, of Eric not being present.
Julia Dakota.
Here.
Eric Hames is absent. Nathan Secor. Nathan LaVirtue. Teddy Secor.
Hey.
Which one do you
I don't have my coffee yet. Nathan LaVirtue.
Here.
Teddy Secor.
Present.
Oh, my.
Yes,
Two of us.
Gotta be the outlier.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of resolution 12D, which I sent out later in the afternoon, which is a very short budget modification for the highway fund.
Second. No,
All in
I was
favor?
reading other stuff.
Aye.
I
Okay, town board liaison reports. Teddy, do you have anything to report?
yes. Get cozy, people. So, CSC. Last month, we discussed at length some aspects of the draft accessory dwelling unit law that the town board is considering. It was also Andrew Riccio's first meeting, who the town will hopefully appoint as a member. We are not meeting in December, but members are encouraged to think of projects we want to pursue in the upcoming year. Haunted Fortress. We talked of the good and the bad of the year behind us. Upcoming projects and when we begin working were discussed. Further, we had a budget breakdown for 2024, and we ended up not spending as much as we thought we were going to spend, coming in at about $7,000 under budget. I'd also like to apologize that our float for the Parade of Lights didn't come together this year and we were unable to reach out to everyone. We will try to get the news out earlier and more efficiently next year. Finally, the ZBA. No comments or questions were held regarding the Ben Rathjen stop work order issued by Code Enforcement Officer Don Smith, dated May 7, 2023. But Chair Dennehy did say there were ongoing discussions between both parties in the matter. The public hearing is open until January 8, 2025. Further, there will be 3 other public hearings for variances of the following properties on the 8th. 15 Indian Trail, 252 Ernest Road, 1212 Huns Lake Road. Neighbors will be notified by mail of the hearing. Also, there was a public hearing regarding a variance for a property on the corner of Millis and Mills. By the way, January 8th is my birthday. I will be 26.
And the 11th is my birthday, and I'll be older than that.
So that is all I had to report on.
Thank you, Teddy, that was great. Nathan,
Nothing. The Recreation Committee did not meet.
and the transfer station.
Yeah, they didn't meet it.
Julia?
So I'm gonna read, I'm sorry, that chocolate is delicious. The planning board liaison report for Eric. The November 20th, 2024 meeting he attended. 2 public hearings were postponed to the planning board's December 18th, 2024 meeting. The meeting, those agenda items will be the minor subdivision of Blue Sky Farm. Owner is Kirk Horton on the north side of Huns Lake Road. South of Olin Road in Stanford, New York, and site plan approval. The owner is Ben Rathjen, 6102 Route 82, Stanford, New York. So that will be next month's meeting. 2 items of business. Minor subdivision owners are Adrian and Andrea Velasquez, 313 Jameson Hill Road, Clint Corners. This is for the subdivision of land for 3 residential building lots, parcels 80 acres, and the lots will contain 5 to 6 acres. There'll be a private road to reach the residential building lots. More work will be needed, as well a special use permit. Notice to all neighbors will be needed. Pre-application conference. There was a site plan approval, changing of a building envelope on Shelley Hill Road. The owner is Joe Monaco. Lot 2 is 15 acres in the back. There was a 2007 subdivision. Owner will need to submit an application for a minor subdivision to change the building envelope. Planning board discussed the most recent version of the town's ADU local law. Planning board had 2 concerns with which Chair Tom Angel put in a letter and sent to the town board for our review and consideration after that meeting. The next planning board meeting will be on December 18th, 2024, next week. The CAC met on November 20th. There was a hybrid meeting held at Town Hall and via Zoom. The minutes from September and October were both approved, and a new vice chairperson of Margaret Fallon was named to the Conservation Advisory Commission. There is an open CAC member position. Curtis reached out to Rita Mary to advertise that in the newsletter. There was a prospective member, Charlie Cunningham, who was discussed, and Lynn Tondrick were also mentioned. I don't think it's on the agenda today, so. Curtis updated the CAC as to the passing of the NRI grant deadline in October and shared that there was a extension submitted to extend that deadline to March 2026 to complete the project. There were delays. They were waiting on DEC approval of that deadline extension and a discussion. We had a discussion around providing tentative NRI drafts and maps to the Town Zoning Commission. And then Margaret's drafting NRI introduction. There were some just brief discussion on a pollinator pathway from one that was in the town of Poughkeepsie, and they discussed briefly what that could mean and where those could possibly be. Social media was discussed. There was a new Winnicke Preserve on Route 82. Lovett Preserve will be getting a new bench next year, and there was some recent clearing of the preserve, but unfortunately, 2 of the bird boxes were knocked down, or damaged, knocked There's an upcoming DLC workday. I don't have that date yet, but I'm sure they'll bring it up in the next meeting, which is Wednesday of next week, December 18th. It was postponed due to rain. And then there was some discussion around the town's composting initiative. And that we said we didn't really want to go down the grant route and getting bins at the transfer station, but that people wanted to learn how to compost at home. There wasn't really anything about that post. Like I mentioned, the next meeting is Wednesday, December 18th. One brief item on the rec campaign. There is going to be some upcoming drainage work done for the basketball, tennis, and pickleball courts because there's been some flooding and some cracking in the courts, and we now have an issue of who's going to cover the repairs because it's within our warranty period, but there's a discussion on faulty asphalt that was used in asphalt quality right now. Very candidly, we're sort of going back and forth with the manufacturer to understand sort of who's going to be on the hook for what. In the meantime, we are fixing the drainage, so there's a resolution to approve the transfer of funds. We got the $50,000 reimbursement from the county, so to utilize some of those funds to do that repair work so that we don't have to replace the tennis courts.
Oh, that would be bad.
Yes.
Great, thank you, Julia. My reports, the fire commissioner's election was held on Tuesday, and I believe Tim Gifford was reelected for a 5-year term.
Yep.
And then Greg Zarnak.
Starzik.
Starzik, sorry, I knew that. Was elected to complete a 3-year term.
Complete the 3-year.
The zoning commission met, and boy, am I blanking out. We met with Nita Peak as far as interviewing her to be a consultant for the zoning commission, and we got her proposal today, which looked terrific, and actually looks as if we can afford it. And we'll talk about that next week, and if all goes well, we'll hire her to do some work for the zoning commission for 2025. And then we're back to discussing home occupations. And I think we still have a long way to go on that, in that conversation. We are looking great. The financials are looking great. It looks like we're going to make all of our revenues and then some. And you'll see on the agenda there are 2 budget modification resolutions. We do this all year long, but we budget by line item, and so sometimes we go over on a line within the general fund, which is everything but the highway. When we do that, we get to move funds from a line that we're not over on. So especially at this time of year, though we do them all year round, it seems like a lot of billing comes in December, so we have a bunch of line items to approve. And unless I'm forgetting something, I think that's it for me. We are going to, the very first item on the agenda is to reintroduce, this will be the 3rd iteration of our new law on accessory dwelling units. And I wanted to just give a tiny bit of history for people who might not have known about the entire process that we have gone through since passing the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan was passed a year ago this month. From that plan, which set out some objectives for the soon-to-be named zoning commission to deal with, 2 of the priorities were making auxiliary dwelling units more accessible to people. There's housing crisis all over the country, certainly all over Dutchess County, and so they're called ADUs, but our dwelling units had a lot of stipulations in order, criteria that had to be met, one of which was that a family member had to live in it. You couldn't put an apartment above your garage and then rent it to a student. So the zoning commission tackled that basically instruction from the comprehensive plan. And the zoning commission then had several meetings with organizations outside of the town. We met with the county planning board. We met with the Dutchess County Board of Health that controls septic and water, oversees the appropriate construction of, or terms so that you can have additional septic and clean water at a site. And I just want to say that we're going to put those minutes up on, unless they're already up on the.
I didn't put them up next to them.
I think we should put those minutes up on the town website along with the law, just so people can see how incredibly rigorous those requirements are. You can't just say, I'm going to add a little building and I'm going to have septic and water. There are very strict requirements for what makes septic acceptable. So I think we should post those, because I don't think that it's common knowledge just how many hurdles there are to setting up a new septic system or adding on to a system that exists. So we have had, anytime you have a law like this, it goes to the County Board of Planning for comments, and it also goes to our planning board. And we have taken, the county planning board has had no suggestions for our law. The planning board has had several, which we have incorporated. And then we have taken input from public comment. And as I said, we're about to introduce the third iteration of the law tonight. So, so we will. I now like to open privilege of the floor, which is a time when anyone can come up to the podium, state your name and address, and if there's a town issue that you want to address, please do so. You have 3 minutes to speak, and you just need to give your name and address to Rita Mary.
Just where I come up to the mic.
You certainly can.
Okay.
You're
That
on.
way you'll get out of
you're
here
on-
That way I
soon.
get
All
out of
right.
here.
That's
Fair
right.
enough.
Rita, your plan backfired.
I know it did. At least I got him here this
Do
time.
you remember September 11th, way back when? I'm 2 months late. One month I was away, second month, Rita didn't send me a reminder. So, anyway, I want to thank the town board. I want to thank the highway department for all the cooperation they gave us on this. Next year will basically be the same thing, the lights. We already put a reservation in for the lights. We just got a donation for them, if people want them. The following year will be a little bigger. We're gonna get the schools involved, because it'll be the 25th. So, you know, we're gonna have that fence down front. You might want to think about reinforce that, because we want to put 3,000 ribbons with everybody's name on that fence, written by the school kids.
Wow.
That's our goal. So,
So you said the fire company's going to work to reinforce that fence, right?
pardon? No, we didn't, I didn't say that.
That's what I
We had a
heard you
few
say
little
it.
flying monkeys this year, but, you know, we're trying to resolve those. I am gonna ask the town board to get a hold of the cable company, because when they redid the cable, the town hall here, for the internet from Route 82, they ran it right up the middle of the hill. And when you're putting flags 1 foot on center, you got a pretty good chance you're gonna hit it. We didn't hit it this year, they marked it pretty well. But I think if someone calls, they can route it, reroute it, you know, so it's not going up the middle of the hill, because I know if I knock the internet out here, people are really gonna complain. That's my guess. So, starting with Wendy. So, I would really, you know, if we could just get someone on that, it's a whole year, they probably won't do it till spring, but they only put it about that far below the ground. We found it in a couple spots, so we don't want to hit it. So I'm just requesting, I'll talk to, you know, we'll come in, we'll talk about how to get the cable, because we had trouble getting in on the market last year in time. I didn't realize they rerouted the cable.
Yeah,
So, but we'll try and figure that one out.
okay.
So, but once again, thank you. I want to thank the highway department. Jim's not here. Once again, They bent over backwards for us, and I'm going to ask permission. We have the town hall next year, September 11th.
Yes, you have our permission.
Good, I don't have to come back.
And Ed, actually, we want to thank you guys. It's an amazing thing that you do every single year, and I know it's a sacred thing that you do, and we're very, very appreciative of you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of personal to me, but it's personal to people in Firehouse too, you know, and I'll tell you, every year it's getting a little easier. You know, we learned by all our mistakes, so.
Because you're standing in people's driveway like mine to get me to put flags up with you?
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, what it is, we're getting, you know, every year it seems we get less and less, it's like any organization, you get less and less volunteers. So we may have to put, you know, ask the community the night we put the flags up to get young people on up and down that hill, because that gets pretty strenuous after a while.
Maybe we can get the students from Pine Plains
We
to come help.
we did this year. We had a few of them. So, but once again, thank you. I didn't want to go without saying that. Sorry I'm late, but I'm here.
Thank
So,
you, Ed.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
We love
Have a
it.
good night.
Thank you, Ed.
Anyone else want to come up and speak? Then I will close privilege of the floor. You get a second chance at the end of the meeting, so. Okay, then I guess we move on to new business resolution 2A, which is the reintroduction of the revised local law number 3, which probably won't even be named 3 because this won't get passed. Whatever iteration won't get passed until next year. Bob, do you want to run through quickly through the, I think,
Sure.
4 changes that we made?
Sure. The changes in this iteration are fairly minor. The maximum size of the ADU was reduced from 1,800 square feet to 1,500 square feet. We have confirmation, or we've made clarification in here that that there would only be a maximum of 2 dwelling units on, like one principal residence and one accessory dwelling on any parcel. So it could be a principal residence or an ADU, or a principal residence or a guest cottage, and so forth, or a principal residence and an accessory apartment. And of course, you cannot have an accessory, you would not be able to have an accessory dwelling unit if it's a 2-family or a duplex. And finally, though, you can have an accessory apartment or an ADU on a parcel where there's housing for farm employees to, basically to further the town's objective of strengthening agriculture. And I think that's pretty much the...
No, we got feedback about the special permit.
Yes, and the other one, was that the special permit requirement for ADUs Huns Lake,
No, Upton Lake.
or Upton Lake zone, was removed, basically on the rationale that all the ADUs ought to be subject to the same restriction.
Yeah. In addition to that, I think another thing people may not realize is that there are other stipulations in order to have an ADU added to your property, which include sufficient parking, adherence to the building code, access, driveway, habitable space and separate kitchen and bathroom if they have to be separate from the primary dwelling. And short-term rentals will not be allowed in the ADUs. So I just ask people, and I did in the newsletter today, Julia's put this latest iteration on the website. She's also going to load up the minutes we took for the zoning commission where we met with the Board of Health. And I just ask people to really familiarize themselves with everything that's involved in actually getting an ADU granted.
Could we distribute that memo as well from the?
That's what she's talking about.
She's going to put that up. Which memo?
The memo from,
Oh, from
You said the
Dutchess
minutes.
County?
No, it was I was talking about the minutes from the zoning commission because,
right, so I'm talking about the ADU memo from the Department of Planning and Development.
the one where they said it was a local matter.
The
No,
one they
the-
talk
No,
about
no,
the
no,
stipulations.
The one from
and-
Ian Wafter
The one
about,
that Drago sent to us.
about the ADU, the +1 program. The county's perspective on it. I think it's good to share that as well, if we can.
Yeah,
I mean, it's only 2 pages, so.
that's fine. Julie can do that. The other thing, and then we can move on, is that Julie and I attended a webinar this week that the state gave on their granting program for ADUs, and it's graduated. They're aiming at low-income and middle-income families first, but ADUs have to be as of right, not special permit, but they have to be as of right in order to qualify for the state grants. Okay, moving right along. Item 2 on the agenda.
Wendy,
Oh, we didn't do anything
You need a
yet.
motion to introduce and set the public hearing.
Oh, that.
And we're referring to, and again, there will be a further referral to the county and planning board.
Yes, so we need a motion to introduce
Introduce.
Resolution 12A, which is local law number 3. I make that motion.
A second.
I'm going to do a roll call vote. Wendy Burton,
Yes?
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames absent, Nathan Virtue.
Before I vote, we also assigning a date for the hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the 9th of January?
Yes, but that will be a separate motion.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yes.
Teddy Secor,
Yes.
And I make a motion to set the public hearing for, what's our January meeting?
The 9th.
9th.
January 9th, the day after Teddy's birthday.
Get me gifts if you want. I'm not, no pressure, but
Second.
Okay? Oh,
all in favor?
Aye. Did I do that all okay, Counselor?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I kind of got ahead of myself there. The water treatment unit that we have in the building that makes the water potable for the public has been on the fritz for a while, and we've tried, Jane has been hard at work trying to get it back online. And we have met with a few consultants and realized that it is more efficacious to replace the unit, which is now, the unit that we currently have has been discontinued. So instead of trying to jerry-rig parts and limp along with it, it'd be more efficacious to just replace it. And we got 2 bids. One was from Homestead Improvements and Water Systems, and their bid, which includes labor, came in for $6,000. And then we got a proposal from Taylor Oil, and their bid came in at $14,689. So you guys have the bids. I, for the life of me, can't think of a reason why we'd want to spend $14,000 for a unit that we can get for $6,000. So, is there any conversation?
No.
You go first. Tell me your hopes, your dreams.
That's
and
so
your favourite
weird.
visit.
That was rude. There was an Australian on my phone. Sorry. So if there's no discussion, then I make a motion to accept the bid from Homestead Improvements. And the only caveat is that the Board of Health has to approve the model that they are recommending that we buy. And Jane spoke with the Board of Health, and they didn't seem to think there'd be any problem with that. So contingent on approval from the Board of Health, I make a motion that we go with the homestead proposal.
Second.
All in favor?
Ed Zick has already spoken. Budget modification, resolution 12B for 2024. I am not going to go through every single line item on this budget modification because there are many of them, moving as little as $49.10 from one line to another to moving as much as $5,464. But the totals that we're moving from one line to another, ooh, that's a big
Yeah.
mistake.
I see that.
I don't have to mention it now.
I'm not sure which of these is the right number. I think it's $21,805.32. Yeah. Yes, and that's a
Second.
motion.
Wendy
Oh.
Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames absent, Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Theodore Secor.
Yes.
And if anybody is interested in the nitty-gritty of these line items, Rita will have a copy in the minutes, and anybody can come and ask me. I'm happy to show them. We also have Resolution 12C, which is doing the same line item adjustments. Uh-oh, that's not right. That's 12D. So Julia, do you want to deal with Resolution 12C?
Yes, the repair on the drainage on the tennis and pickleball courts.
You want to use my paper
I have
copy?
it too.
Oh, do you want this? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, Resolution 12C of 2024 to transfer funds from Stanford Rec Campaign, New York class, I need that correct account number, 0100100009. Remember, that's the one where I needed the account number.
Oh, you're saying 09 isn't the right one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And move the funds to the general fund, number 39000018. Whereas the town of Stanford will be undertaking the drainage modification of the tennis, pickleball, and basketball courts to avoid flooding and cracking in the future. And whereas the adjacent property owner, Billy Copley, provided approval for the Stanford Rec campaign in the town to dig up a small piece of his property to improve drainage and prevent further damage to the tennis, pickleball, and basketball courts. And whereas an estimate of $12,600 was provided by R&R Service Center to undertake this work. Whereas the New York class account to be updated, 0100100009. Stanford Recreation Campaign contains funds for this purpose, and now, therefore, be it resolved, the supervisor is authorized to complete the following budget modifications and transfer the funds from the Stanford Recreation Campaign funds budget to the general fund.
I think it's 13, but we'll just fill it in when we
Okay.
get to it.
Perfect.
Wendy Burton,
Wait, did we?
I don't have a second. I'm assuming you're going to make the motion, Julia.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames absent, Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Theodore Secor.
Yes.
This is a good time for me to stick in Resolution 12D, budget modification for the highway. And in this case, it's just 2 lines. Gas and hot and cold mix need $2,806, and we can take it from the stone line, which is 5110-44. And then outside repairs need $1,770, which we're also taking from the stone line, for a total of $4,576.
Second.
Thank you.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Julia Dakota,
Yes.
Eric Ames absent, Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Teddy Secor.
Yes.
As you all know, our marvelous rec director pushed the town, she persuaded us. I wouldn't say she pushed us. She came up with a great idea, which was to open a summer camp, 8 weeks to start this upcoming summer, we're doing an 8-week camp. And she figured out how to fund it, and we figured out how to raise the revenues, and we're very excited about starting that this summer. And the town board met with Sarah Beam, who has been, what has been her title, like
The assistant
assistant director of the.
Director.
And I'm making a motion to appoint Sarah as the new rec camp director.
Second.
I think we're very lucky to have her.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Wendy, you skipped over one.
She
What?
did.
Andrew Riccio.
I chose to do Sarah
Okay.
first.
I'll accept it.
Thank you, Teddy. We also have an appointment to the Climate Smart Task Force. They have asked us to appoint Andrew Riccio to the Climate Smart Task Force, and I make a motion to do so.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So we're still looking for someone for the CAC. Okay.
Correct.
And an assistant director for recreation.
Oh, well,
That's not an appointment, but we are
Laura-
still looking.
the assistant director.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
because Sarah's not
Yes.
it anymore.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So I think that just became official.
Yes, good thinking. I make a motion to approve the 2025 holidays.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to approve the town board meeting dates.
I'll second it with 2 edits.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Rita.
Uh-oh.
January 6th is a Monday,
Oh,
Oh,
and
that's right.
November
Sorry.
10th is a Monday.
Rita.
November 10th is a Monday. You know how many times I looked this thing over? I think I put it in my.
I think I
I'll
kept
fix it.
one
Put 'em all
every
in my
year.
I'll fix it,
Oh, it
thank
doesn't
you.
matter.
And
With those
the
amendments,
6th and the
I'll second.
and the
Oh,
11th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I put them in as those dates though, so it's okay, right?
Who's seconding that?
I am with those edits.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to approve the kennel contract for 2025 with the Pine Plains Animal Shelter, which I think they've made some improvements on, but I believe it's still in their highway garage.
Yep.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to confirm that the end of meeting date this year will be on December 30th at 7 o'clock. And we will have another abstract at that time, so we'll be, we have 2 abstracts in the month of December. We usually have 2 in February, in January and in February, because we have to break them up into expenses from 2024 that we're paying, separate from 2025 that we're paying. So, I'm just confirming that. We don't have to have a motion on it, right?
Correct.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the minutes of November 14th.
Weren't they?
Was I here?
No,
That was the meeting I missed.
That's
My second meeting in 5 years.
Didn't Eric make an amendment over email to the minutes? A short one, I thought he had.
Oh, tonight's agenda, I forgot the R on director.
Never mind then.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Wendy, you gonna
Oh, I
make the motion?
can't, I have to
Yeah.
abstain.
Yeah, you don't have to abstain. So Nathan will make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for November 14th, town board meeting.
And second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wendy's
I abstain.
Yep, got it.
I think that's the first time in 5 years I've ever done that. Approval of the December abstract. General fund, we spent $91,139.68. The highway spent $23,778.59. Bangor Lights was $1,000.66. The escrow fund was $545, and our ambulance, as always, was $62,500. That's the
Second.
motion.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to open up the second privilege of the floor. Mrs. Bilski, do you have anything you want to tell us?
No, I just came to visit.
Sandra, after our town board meeting last
Oh, yeah.
November, someone who was in the meeting room emailed Wendy, and I ended up responding to it, and she said that you had pulled out a little flashlight out of your purse to walk down the sidewalk.
Okay,
And I don't-
have it right here.
There you go. I don't know if you noticed, we put some lights up out there.
We have little solar, you don't remember that young woman's name?
I don't.
Because I think it came in as, like,
On
it
the
might have
side.
come in from Mr. Schoonmaker's class,
Yeah.
Schoonmaker's class.
It was Gabby Torrey.
There you go.
And it was so exciting that we could actually do something right away, as opposed to, well, that's a really
Like
good
charging in my
idea.
yard and stuff, I
Yeah.
was like, son.
That was great, so
Solar.
they went right up, so, that was for you.
Well, thank you all very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, if there's no privilege of the floor, and there's no other business, then I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
I thought you were going to stick in some business.
No, that's
All in
next
favor?
month.
Aye.
Aye.
So would you like us to, bye, Sandy, get home safely.